What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
You got Jaime and Fuego here.
And we're here to do a special review. It's the first one we're actually going to be doing from this year's 2017 Phoenix Film Festival / the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival, which is a sub-branch of the Phoenix Film Festival.
IHSFF?
Yep, IHSFF. Yep, exactly. Hashtag IHSFF. But the first movie that we're going to be doing is actually the first movie that we saw. We've seen 2 thus far. We're going to watch 2 more tonight. But the second one is a group of shorts that we're going to just do a big, massive review once we see the other group of shorts. But this first one, Fuego, what are we doing?
We're doing Antimatter, which was actually done by a guy named Burrows, if I am pronouncing your name improperly. I'm sorry. I'm assuming it's a British writer and director. He'd done some short films previously, but this was his feature debut. And I must say, from a visualistic standpoint, from a conceptual standpoint, because it's more on the sci-fi thriller side of things.
Yes.
But damn, was it good. I was thoroughly impressed with this film.
It was described as a dark sci-fi, sort of with horror elements.
Exactly.
And so that's why we went to see it, and it was definitely that. Now, we'll do this sort of like we do our normal things, which is our initial impressions, and then we'll talk about the story and the effects and all that. I thought this movie, again, a lot of these movies are going to be cool because I'm going in knowing next to nothing about them.
Zero.
This one I hadn't even seen a trailer. Some of these we've seen trailers for, but this one I knew nothing. So
same here, except
I went
for the
in,
description.
Yeah, and it felt really low budget, but not in that like bad way. It felt like obviously they did a lot with what they had, but I was really impressed with everything I was presented, again, going in completely blind. So this was a big thumbs up for me.
Amen. Yeah, same here. It felt very, not so much low budget, but personal is the best way that I can describe it.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the vestiges that they filmed, we'll get to that in the cinematography, but all the shots in London, because it takes place around Oxford University, I was just so impressed with performances, with everything top to bottom from a first-time feature filmmaker. Thumbs up, man.
Yeah, so basically the story runs that we follow this scientist who turns out to be, I guess, a college student, but she looked a little older than a college student to me at first. I didn't realize she was a college student.
Yeah, well,
until...
I mean, she was talking about when they first met as undergrads, and now they're presumably pursuing
Okay, that makes more
doctorates
sense. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So
yeah.
But nonetheless, they work at Oxford, and she is running this experiment with her friend, and we don't know exactly what it is.
Has the hots for
a little bit, yeah, and that does play a part later.
And she's also American.
Is she? Okay, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yep, she's an American exchange student of some sort, and Hispanic, in fact. So she is, I kind of got the vibe, and we do right at the beginning of the film, that she's not only bilingual, but maybe Spanish first, and Spanish does play kind of a role in some of the dialogue with her and her mother, which is cool.
Absolutely, and basically it starts off with her running sort of what looks like a real small-scale experiment.
Yep.
But what's happening is she's running this thing, she's got these probes and this fluid, and essentially she's making electrons disappear, and they don't know whether they're being destroyed or whether they're hiding or whether they're just flat disappearing.
Yeah.
But that's just at the very beginning, and eventually they find out they are indeed disappearing, and if they can make electrons disappear, then they essentially start to accelerate the process and speed up the science, and they start making other things disappear or teleport, as it were. They essentially develop a low-grade teleporter, and they're coming up with all these ideas of patents and all these real-world applications to teleportation and all this stuff, and we're going to be, and they recruit this new beautiful young scientist, and
who they jokingly describe as a girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah, exactly, because she's got the exactly,
piercings and everything.
But she's like, we're going to be gods,
and she's a babe and very smart too. The Liv character I thought was awesome.
So we find out though that rapidly they're sort of breaking the rules to achieve these scientific advancements. They're like, stealing servers and essentially, someone describes it as they're having 800 million people do your homework for you.
Oh yeah.
Which was really an interesting thing. So that was really cool. But essentially, the government is starting to crack down and trying to find out who's running these experiments. Time gets escalated, and they have to up the trials in order to really gain the funding they really want.
And before losing the patent, presumably, because somebody who has picked up on what they're doing is going to swoop in and shut them down.
They opt to run the first human trial.
Exactly.
with one of them, and they actually draw matchsticks for it, which is interesting. But
which it makes sense who it ends up being, though, because she's the driving force of the project from the beginning anyway.
Right. We won't say which she, although he just narrowed it down from 3 to 2.
Well, 2 out of 3.
I know,
Come on.
but nonetheless, the person they do the experiment, and then that person starts to experience reality in a very strange way.
Yeah.
And the rest of the movie, the central mystery from Act 2 on is what happened and why is she missing parts of her memory? Why can't she retain memories and things like that? And I got to be honest, guys, it was so intriguing. We're talking more about story than we normally do because it takes a lot of explaining. Yeah. But it made it that much more interesting for me. Yeah. What about you?
There's a Netflix film that I recently watched called Synchronicity that had a lot of similarities. Also similarly amazing about just kind of trying to create wormholes and just I guess avenues through time and space and trying to figure out where the aforementioned is going to end up. And it's a mystery. It's thrilling.
The mystery was excellent, by the way, and I would say this is sort of. It's kind of a mixture of The Prestige and Primer and Synchronicity, like you said. Like it's a really cool melding of a bunch of different things, and that sort of leads us to I think the effects, which I think were minimal, but were effective for what we got. They didn't need to do very much to get across what they needed to get across.
Yeah, and that is one difference between this and a lot of other larger budget sci-fi. They kept it more personal, like we were talking about, and it was less about just being glossy and trying to be attention grabbing with those visuals. It was more about the dramatics beforehand, afterwards, and all of that. And it was, it was still very cool, the lab that they had built with all of the different,
and how it expanded as the story grew. Like they had to keep growing. Yeah. But yeah, there's a reason I went with effects first, because what you said,
the acting, because I want to talk about
the acting, which was easily the standout of this movie.
Big time. And the chemistry.
Performance was the chemistry was
trio
great.
Of people.
Well, not only that, not only was the chemistry good, but the deceptive chemistry, like we thought things were happening,
which
that then threw us off a little bit, right?
Through.
It kept us off our toes, or on our toes, and especially the lead's performance. She was amazing. The scientist, she had a lot of work to do in this, and she carried it very well.
We had Anna and we had Nathan, and all three of those actors who played those characters, because I'm not sure of any of their names, regrettably, but they all did tremendous jobs, and they were all on the younger side of things, and yet the cohesiveness and the interplay was all really natural, from the quips from the British girl to just the way the Nathan character, the British gentleman at Oxford, balanced things out, and was kind of like a neutrality between the two women. It was cool, and it was very well just assembled, I guess, and that's often credit to the director too, to really get your actors in that frame of mind where they can all just play off one another, and it was good. It was
credit to the scripting as well, because
same guy. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So it's one of those great writer directors, you guys. It's worth checking out. I don't know exactly when you'll be able to get your hands on it. This is sort of a Black Coat's Daughter situation for us.
I hope it's not that long.
We literally got to see Black Coat's Daughter
a year ago,
and it's just now available to you guys. So I don't know when this one's going to be available, but keep your eyes out, follow it, go to their social media. I'll try and find it out and put it in the description box down below so you can click on it and follow the process of the movie and see where you can see it. But it's definitely worth your time.
Absolutely. And musical points, there wasn't an abundance, but the score serviced things well.
It was actually what, I noticed the score a few times, and it was sort of intense and driving at times, a little
especially
bit,
especially during the middle.
I felt a little It Follows-ish with the score, like the sort of synth stuff sometimes,
especially during those shots all over London. It was really just those backdrops were breathtaking. I just keep coming back to the cinematography and how well it was shot and how everything cohesively fit together so well. It really did.
Right, it absolutely was. Yeah. So that's our review for Antimatter, you guys, right here at the Phoenix Film Festival 2017. I don't know, was that one part of the IHSFF?
It was.
Okay,
yeah,
so there you go. That's part of the International
sci-fi
Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. Yeah. You guys, it was really good. So keep your eye out for it.
Yes.
Stay tuned. You're going to get more reviews from us out of this Phoenix Film Festival this year.
And of course, we got to give shout outs to Jason, Monty, obviously Patrick from Allied for hooking us up with being able to cover the event. Gracias to you guys, and yes, thank you for the opportunity. We have so much more coming at you, and we're stoked for it.
Absolutely. So stay tuned, and remember, stay scared.
Stay scared.
From off camera.